Alrighty, welcome parents. I'm excited today to share something that might challenge what you think that you know about helping your teen. When most parents think about getting support for their teens, right, they immediately picture this one-on-one coaching or one-on-one tutoring or one-on-one therapy. But honestly, if I told you, okay, that for many teens, group coaching might actually be more effective, would you believe me? Well, today I'm actually going to help you understand why group coaching works well for teenagers and how it might be exactly what your teen needs to thrive. So, over the next 15 to 20 minutes, I'll dive deep into the world of group coaching for teens. I'll show you what it might look like, why it works so well for this age group, and address the concerns that I hear most often from parents. And by the end, you'll have a clear understanding of whether group coaching might be the right fit for your teenager and some possible next steps for your family. So, let's start with an understanding of what makes teenagers just unique, right? So, during adolescence, your teen's brain is literally like rewiring itself. So, the peer relationships, they become incredibly important. Honestly, right? Often they're more influential than parent or adult guidance, right? And it's not defiance, right? It's really not. Instead, it's development. Okay, they're figuring out who they are, and they do this largely through like what social interactions, right? And so they're also naturally like resistant to authority figures, like parents, right? Okay, and that can often make like this traditional one-on-one coaching sometimes for some feel like it's threatening or uncomfortable because there's this power dynamics that's there, right? And at the same time, they might be desperate, okay, to have that sense of belonging, okay, while wanting some level of independence. And so group coaching creates really like a perfect storm that like is uniquely positioned to address this need. Okay, and so I really think it's a great thing, and I'll talk about like what exactly group coaching is here. So group coaching, it's not group therapy. Okay, that's different. I've facilitated that before. Um, it's not just like teens hanging out. And a group coaching typically involves like small groups of teens who meet regularly with a life coach, right? So, hey everybody, I'm Coach Brian from Impactful Mentoring. I help teens and their parents improve their relationships. I have two sons of my own. One is a teen, and then one is a young adult. So, in terms of working with teens, I am experienced as well as highly trained. I'm just a few months away from finishing my own training as a school counselor and therapist. So, that means that your teen will get top notch support if you choose this program. Okay. I facilitate structured activities, discussions, and goal oriented exercises. Okay. And you just see the magic happening here because it's the combination of professional guidance and peer support. So think of it like a safe laboratory where teens can practice new skills, share challenges, and then hold each other accountable, all while being guided by someone who both understands teen development and coaching techniques. And that's me, right? And so we'll focus on all that. All right. Um, Honestly, okay, here's where group coaching really shines and that power of peer connection. Okay. When teens realize that they're not the only ones struggling with things like anxiety or family conflict or even uncertainty about the future, right? Something powerful can happen. The shame that's often involved that keeps teens from being, stuck, that begins to erode, okay, begins to dissolve, and they begin to see peers that are facing similar challenges, and just suddenly suddenly they don't feel so alone or perhaps even so broken. This peer connection creates a natural motivation. You see, teens often work harder when they know their peers are counting on them. The group becomes a safe space to practice being vulnerable and authentic. These are skills that then will serve them like throughout their lifetimes. And that's really key. Okay. And so, quote that's there, I am not alone in this, right? The teens are not alone in what's going on. All right. So, one of the biggest benefits I see here with group coaching is that it reduces this natural like resistance that teens have to adult guidance. Okay. So when a peer shares like a similar struggle or offers encouragement, it doesn't trigger some like defensive response that adults might get. Okay. And so if we're giving advice or, we're making a suggestion and, we are saying the same thing as like their BFF, it's going to be received differently. Well, here in this group setting, it's similar to that, right? And teens, honestly, right, they are incredibly perceptive about like authenticity. Okay. And so hearing it from someone who's their same age or around their age, right, who actually quote unquote gets it, that carries this enormous weight for them. And so the group dynamic is able to shift their focus from resisting authority to contributing to something bigger than themselves. Okay. They want to help their peers succeed. And of course, naturally, right, that opens them up to receiving help then in return. So for me, I am skilled in asking open ended questions that will encourage reflection, okay, encourage the erosion, the dissolving, okay, of some of those barriers that they're holding tight, okay. Um, so another benefit here of group coaching is this accelerated learning. All right, I highlight 5 things here, right? Um, and so don't forget, like in individual coaching, pardon me, your teen may learn from like one adult's perspective. Right? It's my own story, right? It's my own trial and error as a coach, as a teen, as even as a parent. Okay, but here, right, in group coaching, teens are exposed to multiple ways of thinking, multiple ways of solving problems. Okay, multiple ways of breaking down those obstacles. They watch peers navigate similar challenges, and then they learn from both successes and failures. Okay, and so that accelerated learning that happens because teens are naturally observant of their peers. They'll try strategies they see that are working for others, and then during the session, right, during our discussion, during our group sessions, they get immediate feedback like on how they've attempted these things, right? And perhaps most importantly is that they see that there's growth, and that growth can actually be messy, right? It's not just them who struggles or who makes mistakes. They see others that are struggling, see others that are able to pick themselves up and then move on, right? They're becoming resilient together. So, accountability, another benefit, right? Accountability itself is crucial for teenage growth, right? But it can be tricky, okay? Because if you're coming from that parent side of things, right, there may be a power struggle. I certainly know this, right, and experienced this with my own kids, okay? And group coaching creates like this natural accountability. It doesn't feel punitive, okay? When teens make comments to their peers, they're more likely to follow through. The group provides regular check-ins, they celebrate success, and offer support during setbacks. There's often let's see, what's called like a healthy competitive element that's there, right? That motivates teens to push themselves. Well, they are also ensuring, excuse me, that they have like support when they are also struggling. And so this peer accountability is often like, more effective than these adult imposed consequences because that support comes from a place of mutual support rather than authority. And that's really important. Okay. That built-in accountability, that mutual support rather than authority. So social skills development obviously is something that this group concept is going to provide. It's invaluable. Okay. These opportunities that they have for building social skills during this group coaching is really very helpful. It's different than an individual, right? An individual, you may be working on an individual mindset of what that one person can do. But here, teens practice communication. They practice active listening. They practice conflict resolution in real time with their peers. They learn to give and receive feedback. They give support, okay, especially during like difficult moments, and that's going to happen, right? But they can also celebrate each other's successes. And those are all life skills that are going to be important, that will serve them in relationships, whether that be at home, school, life in general, and eventually, right, those relationships are in their careers. And so this group setting allows them to practice these skills in a safe, supportive environment where their mistakes are considered learning opportunities rather than social disasters. Okay. And really, it's really important to note that oftentimes, these kids are judged on moments of time, snapshots, rather than, the whole sitcom or the whole, show or the whole movie, so to speak. And so teaching them that they can celebrate each other and learn from these opportunities is really going to be key. I mean, and confidence, is really going to make that change and that difference happen. Okay, there is something magical. I know I've used that word magic before here, right? But there's something magical that happens when a teen realizes they're not only worthy of support, but capable of providing it to others. That's huge. Group coaching builds confidence through multiple pathways. Teens are able to receive validation from peers who truly understand their experiences. Empathy is a great way to both improve yourself and support the growth in others. And look, as parents, you know that, right? You know that. Teens, though, they discover their own wisdom by showing empathy, by practicing these skills. They see their growth reflected in the group's process as a whole. And most important, they have a safe space to try out, quote unquote, new versions of themselves without fear of judgment. This confidence is often more sustainable than confidence built through individual achievement because it's rooted in connection and contribution. It's rooted in connecting with your peers on your own level. And so, as a coach, right, I hear lots of different concerns, and I'll address them here, right? So, I hear this concern frequently, and it's completely understandable, right? What if my teen won't open up in group? Many parents, right? They worry that their shy or their private, teen won't benefit from group coaching. They're introverted, maybe, perhaps. So here's what I've learned. Okay. In general, skilled group coaches, okay, like myself, are experts at creating psychological safety. Okay. When even like these reserved teens can feel comfortable participating. And not every teen needs to be the quote unquote most vocal to benefit, from group coaching. Some teens learn primarily through observation, and that's perfectly valid. Trust builds gradually, and teens themselves are remarkably good at reading the emotional safety of a group. And a good coach will never pressure participation, but will create multiple ways for different personality types to contribute meaningfully. And I will do that. One of the things that makes my program different is that I provide teens with workbook throughout the program. It gives them opportunity after opportunity to learn, reflect, and grow even outside of the group setting. Hey, but parents have more concerns, right? Will they just complain about parents together? Okay. Another common worry of parents is that like a group coaching will become a parent bashing session, right? And that's not the case. I'm a parent. I mean, I know I make mistakes, but it won't help our sessions for me to focus on perceived mistakes. Okay. Questioning a parent's judgment. Teens, they might actually initially bond over frustrations. It's not healthy. I will quickly redirect these conversations towards personal responsibility and solution finding. Truly asking them to think about what do they have in their control? What do they have control over? Okay. And then, interestingly enough, peer feedback often supports what parents have been trying to say all along. But again, coming from peers, teens are more likely to hear it. The focus then remains on what teens can control and change about themselves, not about blaming others. And most parents, they find that group coaching improves their relationship with their teen because their teen develops better communication skills and emotional regulation. Two key topics that I hit with the Teen Success Accelerator. So, hey, how do you know if group coaching is right for your teen? Right? It is particularly powerful for teens who feel, isolated or believe that they're like the only ones facing their challenges. It does work well for teens who tend to minimize their struggles because, seeing peers face similar issues, it helps them take on their own challenges more seriously, right? If your teen has been resistant to, the individual side of things, group coaching may feel less threatening, right? It's excellent for social skills development, as I talked about. You have the teens have an opportunity to be able to learn from others about navigating typical developmental changes. Okay. They can talk about things like identity formation, peer pressure, or future planning, right? So if your teen generally responds well to peer influence, group coaching can actually harness that natural tendency in a positive direction. And honestly, right, just like it says on the screen there, right, these describe most teens, right? Those bullet points describe most teens. Okay. So the Teen Success Accelerator offers group coaching, but it offers also one-on-one coaching. Okay. You actually have three options. Okay. You have one option, which includes an entire year of one-on-one and group sessions. So you get the best of both worlds. If you choose to go with a one-on-one setting, okay, because it's like, all right, you feel like your teen still needs, one-on-one support, you have that. But you also have this group option, okay, that I've been talking about for the last, 17 or so minutes. However, you also have an option where it's just 1 year of group sessions. So the Teen Success Accelerator, we meet 3 times a month, every single month of the year. Okay. And so you have an option of taking one entire year of group sessions. And the third option is, hey, maybe you want to try 1 month at a time. Okay. So there is an option where you can try 1 month, which includes one-on-one sessions and also the 3 group sessions that occur every single month of the year. So why is the Teen Success Accelerator different? Number one, it provides choices for families. I talked a lot about group coaching, but I know that some families, they still like to hold on to the one-on-one piece. And I can understand that. So I offer that, right? Sometimes you don't want to be locked into a lengthy contract. Well, I have that option too. And not only that, the options here are very cost effective for families. Okay. The monthly Teen Success Accelerator, that's 12 months of group sessions right now, that's nearly just a couple of copays if you're going to see a therapist. That's a couple of copays every month. Okay. Number two, each session includes education about a topic or two, right? And discussion, which again, group therapy is more discussion based. Okay. And it's really discussion heavy. So you may be talking about like what's going on, but are you learning as a group a new skill? And that's really this program is really skill based. Okay. And number three, the Teen Success Accelerator includes me, Coach Brian, right? I'm someone that provides wraparound support for teens and their families. This includes academic, social, and emotional support. Honestly, my graduate level training has provided me with the latest techniques to support our youth. Okay. And that's why I truly feel as though your next steps should include, okay, scheduling a free consultation or visiting the link to find out more about the program, or even registering your teen today by visiting the link. But what probably you shouldn't do is continue to let your teen struggle. So again, some possible next steps here. Okay, schedule your consultation, visit the link just to check out the program, or even register your teen today. Choice is yours.